Welcome to the class. Today we're going to talk about the whole language approach. We are the team number 5 formed by Wendy and me, Itzel. I hope you enjoyed the topic and learned the information we'll be sharing with you. Whole language as used in second language teaching come to encompass the fourth skill. The term was created in the 1980 by a group of USA educators concerned with the teaching of what is referred to as language art. Whole language was developed as a reaction to teaching methods such as this. It emerged when top-down reading theory were being promoted. Whole language emphasized learning to read and write naturally, with focus on read communication, reading and writing for pleasure, is a way of teaching language art skill to primary school children. Okay, theory of language. How language view language organization from an interactional perspective. In this perspective, language function as vehicle for human communication in which there is an interactional relationship between readers and writers. It has heavy emphasis on its place and authenticity on conversation. For example, in mastering the sociolinguistic signal for apologizing, a whole language perspective requires an authentic situation in which one truly needs to apologize. Next. Okay, whole language also views language as a vehicle for internal interaction, for egocentric speech, for thinking. We also use language to think. A functional model of language is also referred to in a whole language because language is seen as something that is used for meaningful purpose and to carry out authentic functions. Sorry. Next.
The theory of learning. The learning theory of whole language is humanistic and constructivist. It is constructivist because this learning theory holds that knowledge is socially constructed rather than received or discovered. Here, the constructivist learners create meaning, learn by doing, and work collaboratively in mixed groups on common projects. Here, here also the it is humanistic because this theory states that the student is the authority of how they learn and also is the authority of all their needs that should be met in order for them to learn well. Teachers can also collaborate with the learners in talking about constructivist because they can create knowledge with the learners and also understanding their mutual social context. The whole language is said to be authentic because it is unique, personalized because it is different in each of the students, and also pluralistic and collaborative because we see the students' differences as strengths that will make a more strong society. And collaborative because all the students may have the opportunity to collaborate with other students, and the teachers should be able to teach them those skills. Also, we can see here in the picture that it says self-directed because the students can choose and have this amazing opportunity to choose the topics, the content, or the material and activities that they will have to deal with in classes. All of these characteristics are are believed that to focus the learner attention and motivates the mastery. Social perspectives on learning are also used to support the whole language, particularly the notion of scaffolded learning. This is also as from the point of constructivist. And here we have this quote that says, Bommingen, 2010, whole language is a constructivist approach to education. We can see also the learning focuses on learners' interests and needs. This means that we can look for the students' preferences and use them to create more material or give them the tools that they need in order to achieve something. As here says, aspirations. All of our students will have a goal to achieve, and that is the aspirations that they want to get to. And also, the most important part, I think, is experiences, because all of these knowledge will be constructed from the experiences our students have, because they that is a previous knowledge that they already know, so we need to know like this background in order to help them to construct new knowledge.
Objectives. One of the objectives of the whole language is the integration of reading, writing, and other skills, which are listening and speaking. The use of authentic literature rather than artificial. A focus on real natural events rather than on specially designed reading stories which do not relate to student experience. Reading is conducted for the purpose of comprehension. Use of student-produced tests rather than teacher-generated or other generated tests. And next.
Now, the types of learning and teaching activities. In the designing and selection of the teaching activities, it emphasizes the flexibility within the structure. Here, the language teachers organize the day in larger blocks of time in order that the children can engage a meaningful pursuits. The teacher guides and supports and structures the children's learning as needed. Here, the flexibility within the larger time blocks offers the time that learners need in order to accomplish something meaningful and significant. For example, we can spend several days by working with the same topic, maybe, or with the same activity, but because this will be meaningful for them, and we as teachers have to consider that all the activities they will make and the content they will see have to give us this effective learning process. Now, the learner's role. The learner is a selector, as we can see here, because, as we already mentioned, the students have this opportunity to choose whether they want the topic they want to see, maybe the activities they want to make in the class, and also the student is a evaluator of their own and others' learning, and they also can select or choose how they can or how they want to evaluate them or the other students. And also we can see here that this the learner is also a collaborator, because they will have to interact with other students in order to create and construct this new knowledge from the basis they all have. Now, the teacher's role. The teacher is seen as a facilitator because the teacher guides the students, and the teacher provides the tools for them. And also, it is seen as an active participant because the teacher can be involved in the activities, in the content, or in the several material practice that is happening in the classroom. The teacher teaches students and not the subject matter and looks for occurrence of teachable moments rather than following a pre-planned lesson plan or a script. And this is really important because the teacher can have this freedom, if we want to say it like that, the because the teacher can go with the flow of the class, because the teacher does not have these patterns that has to fulfill at the end of a class. Yes, of course they are some, but not as specific as if we have a script, as I already said, or a lesson plan. Also, the teacher creates a climate that will support collaborative learning in and has the responsibility to negotiate the plan work with the learners. The teacher has also this part of making a deal with the students of what is coming next, what we are going to see the next class, or what activities we are going to do in order to achieve the goals that we all want as teachers or students to achieve at the end of the class. Also, the teacher provides support by helping the children to develop skills for interacting with each other, solving interpersonal conflicts and problems, and supporting one another in learning, and also taking the responsibility for their own behavior in learning.
Role of instructional materials. Whole language instruction recommends the use of real world material rather than commercial texts. A piece of literature is an example of real world material in that its creation wasn't instructionally motivated but result from the author wish to communicate it with the reader. Other real-world materials are brought to class by students in the form of newspapers, signs, handbills, storybooks, printed material from workplace in adults. Also, students produce their own materials. Next, procedure. We can apply this method in activities such as the use of literature, the use of prose writing, encouragement of cooperative learning among students, concern for student attitude, individual and small group reading and writing, and rate dialogue journals, reading conference, student made books, and story writing. Their use as part of overall physiology of teaching and learning that gives a new meaningful and purpose to such activities. Two English translations of the same short story is an example of parallel text.
Here are our references: Richards and Rogers 2014, Approaches and Methods in Language Teaching, UK, Cambridge University Press. And as we see in all this presentation, uh, the whole language sees the language as a whole entity. That's the main part of all of this. And we hope that you have enjoyed this class and the information was useful for you. And thank you for being in class today.